welcome back to Red Cedar Radar. This is a new edition of the podcast, Postgame Talks with Jacob and Brendan. We're going to kind of share players of the game that we liked, positives and negatives as the basketball season goes on, just our kind of raw thoughts right after the game. Okay, players of the game. Who do you think was the best player? We obviously know Jaden Akins had a career game tonight, but who else stood out to you guys?
Yeah, I thought Jace Richardson looked as comfortable as a true freshman could look out there. I mean, he had 10 points, shot the ball really well. Even getting back to those exhibition games, he shot the ball really well. So to me, uh, he's looked incredible for a true freshman. I asked Izzo after the game, was that like comfortability wise for a true freshman? Have you seen anyone like him like that before? And he kind of pondered about it a little bit. So I mean, he was impressed with him. His basketball IQ, you can tell out on the court. He knows what he's doing. You see support really well. So I was impressed with Richardson. Had a couple assists there as well, 4 assists, 2 boards. So I thought he played really well. I think he's going to be a key contributor this season for Michigan State.
Absolutely.
And one other guy I was impressed with was Zaman Zapala. He got the start at center. Obviously, there's been a lot of question marks at the big position. There still kind of are as far as how that's going to go. But first time playing for a big-time major program. He's played at some time Utah State and Longwood. He answered the bell in 18 and a half minutes. He had 9 points, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks. He looked a heck of a lot better than he did in the exhibition against Ferris State. And 3 blocks in that amount of time, he's going to be a real nice defensive presence. And he obviously did real well cleaning up the glass as well.
Yeah, and we talked to him in the locker room a little bit. He was just talking about how cool it was to play in front of, 15,000 fans or however many were in here. So he didn't have a whole lot of experience playing in front of that many people during his time at Utah State and Longwood. And I'm sure they played some good opponents on the road. But, I mean, playing for a Breslin Center crowd, home crowd, I mean, it really seemed like it was something special for him.
And I think it's also, again, it's a lot of people. I don't think any of us knew who Zapala was until he committed, basically, to MSU. But Zapala knows how to win, basically. He was part of a Utah State program for 3 years. They made the tournament twice. He was at Longwood last year. They made the tournament as well. That's probably one of the main reasons I think Izzo went for him, is that dude knows what a winning culture is like, and you really saw it on the court from him today.
In the post game, when we were in the locker room, I noticed he just was smiling from ear to ear the whole time. Every time someone asked him about what it was like to play in front of the crowd, like he had nothing but good things to share.
I just wrote a thing about his journey here. He started off in Poland. He was playing hockey. Obviously, he's a tall dude, 7 feet now, so he switched to basketball. And obviously, the transfers and everything. And I talked to him during the media day. There's no place in the world he'd rather be than in East Lansing.
Yeah. So switching from players, just positives overall, good things that you guys saw from the team as a whole.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job getting high percentage shots. Didn't do a great job shooting from the perimeter, 3 for 18 from 3-point range, but I did think drove the lane well. Points in the paint, 48-8. Michigan State had that advantage, which is insane.
Plus 40.
So 40-point differential there in points in the paint. So I thought they did a good job getting high percentage looks, and as a result, they shot 30 for 61, so just a tad under 50%. So did a good job getting high quality looks. Drove the lane, played in transition decently well. So overall, I thought it was Michigan State just consistently got high percentage shots.
I thought they had some good different mix-ups of the lineups, and I didn't feel like things stalled out too much as the lineups kind of mixed in and out. It was just good to see early on in the year as they're still kind of figuring out where everyone fits. That's something I thought overall, at least with substitutions, went decently.
Izzo said it too. Anytime you score 81 points while shooting 3 for 18 from 3 in this day and age, that means it's obviously you don't want to go 3 for 18 from 3-point range. But if you're scoring 80 points while doing that, something's going right. Is where again it goes back to the bigs contributing a little bit. Jace Richardson played very well, and then obviously there's a lot of question marks around Jaden Akins coming into today. He had 4 and 3 points, I think, in the exhibition games, and here he goes, ties his career high of 23, 9 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals. Is that 2 blocks? Is really just a monster night in every shape and form. Akins needs to be the leader of this team, and that's exactly what he was tonight.
Yeah.
And the perimeter shooting, I do think is going to improve. I mean, Booker had an off night, 2 for 10, 0 for 4 from 3. Holloman, 0 for 3, 0 for 2 from 3-point range. So I do think some of those 3-point shots are going to start to fall. And when they do, you hope, obviously, the interior scoring inside the paint there continues. So, honestly, if this team can put that perimeter shooting together with what they did in the front court today, getting easy baskets. I think this team can be really good offensively. Obviously, Monmouth, they're on Curtis' opponent. We'll see when it comes when they play Kansas and some of these good teams that have a non-conference play. But overall, I do think it was a promising start, despite kind of the shooting struggles from perimeter.
I think we need to touch on is the performance of Jeremy Fierce tonight. Obviously, he's coming back from a traumatic experience last year that ended his season. Comes in, plays 21 and a half minutes, 8 assists, just dimes all over the place. Izzo said he really should have had like 12 or 13, really. So obviously, everyone knew he was already a tremendous passer, but for him to immediately, in his first collegiate start, just come out and immediately start dishing the rock superbly, I mean, just good stuff.
I do think he really brought the energy that maybe was missing with our point guard last year. He seemed to be getting on guys, but in a way that like uplifted them rather than tearing them down. And I felt like when he was out on the court, things seemed to run very smoothly through him always. So I think that's a good positive.
To me, that's honestly the main takeaway. The positive takeaway is just it's very clear the culture of this team and the leadership of this team is very, very, very good. Obviously, it's November basketball, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah. Okay, negatives. Anything that you wish would have gone differently other than the leaf blower that's being blown right now underneath us?
Yeah, I thought there were a little bit too many turnovers. Kohler had, I believe, 3. Yeah, he had 3. Fierce had a couple. Turnovers a little bit of an issue, but perimeter shooting, we touched on it a little bit. I do think that's going to get better. I don't think they're going to be 3 for 18 every single game this season.
Yeah.
Main thing, turnovers, perimeter shooting, just some guys with a couple of off nights, and Booker and Howland. But I'm not super worried about those 2 guys having long-term issues when it comes to perimeter shooting. And obviously Kohler with the turnovers.
Yeah, to me, I thought some of the perimeter defense was shaky. I thought Monmouth had quite their fair share of decent looks from beyond the arc. They had one guy, Abdi Bashir Jr., he had 20 points. He basically, on 22 shots, not the world's greatest efficiency, but he was just, it felt like at times he was just killing them. So, and this I'm not exactly a basketball guru here, but it just felt like sometimes they left guys open on the perimeter a little bit too much.
Brendan touched on. There was a couple times that I noticed Booker went up soft, and that was something we saw from him a lot last year, and that was something that was different. There was at one point, I think, a play that he went up soft 3 times in a row, got the rebound each time, but couldn't finish it, and that's something that I was hoping was maybe going to be different. And there's still time, obviously. This is just the first one, but that was something I was a little bit disappointed in.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit sometimes he forgets how tall and big he is.
Yeah, right.
I do specifically remember one game in the Ferris State game. He had I think it was a fast break. He was driving on someone who probably had 6-7 inches on, and he could have probably easily gone up for and one layup. And said he leaned back and chucked something up, and I was like, "So you got to go strong there, man." I digress with what you said right there. I'm not too worried about him. He had some good looks from 3 that just didn't go down, and I'm sure Izzo is going to be the first to tell him, hey, you need to use your muscle a little bit more than you did tonight.
Anything else you want to share from this matchup tonight?
I mean, I thought they kind of established some depth. I mean, everyone in the playing rotation, that's minus Kurt Tang, Norman played a little bit, Nick Sanders, but everyone else that did play, they had 11 minutes or more, ranged from kind of 11 to 27. So I do think this team has some depth. They might not have that star player like they had in kind of Tyson Walker, where you knew who was getting the ball late in the game. But I do feel like they got a couple of different guys that they can rely on when it comes to scoring and when it comes to just having some of that depth.
Do you think, with Jaden Akins' performance tonight, he could be the go-to guy?
He can be. He showed flashes of it. I still need to see consistency. This is not enough for me. For him to be this next superstar and for Michigan State, I still need to see more consistent play out of him. Continues Thursday night. Niagara's coming to East Lansing. Obviously, you see a good performance against Kansas and some of the other big opponents they have coming up.
I agree. I think I don't know if Akins is going to be a guy who's going to go out and put up 23 a night, I do think this is going to be a team that's going to rely on a balanced attack a lot, given how they played in the exhibitions and how they played tonight, really, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see a lot of guys get playing time. You're going to see a lot of guys contribute throughout the year.
I think that concludes our post-game episode here. Thanks for tuning in. We will try to do one of these episodes every game when all of us are here, or some of us are here. So tune in for that. It'll be on Spartans Illustrated YouTube, and check us out on Spartans Illustrated. Subscribe for more basketball content as we get into the year.